Hi, my name is Daniel Bolliger. I am from Zurich. I'm an artist slash photographer slash creative director and slash curator. And I am living in Zurich now. I've been living in New York and Los Angeles for many years. And yeah, that's me. Let's start. How did I get into photography? Okay, so let's go back. I started with, actually, my background is painting and drawing. And I always wanted to become, wanted to draw animation or cartoons. That was my goal, or to be an actor. That was like my childhood dreams. And then it shifted. I started to get interested into photography, and my mom, she gave me some money, not a lot, like 150 bucks, I think, for a very good camera though. It was a very good lens, a 50mm, very neutral. And I started taking a lot of portraits, and that's the little start there. But the next thing was having a lab in the bathroom to get black and white going. And also a few courses. And then I applied for the art school in Zurich. It's called ZHdK, is the University of Zurich for art. I don't even know how they call it in English, but blah, blah, blah. So that's why I got into photography. I applied and I got taken. At that time, it was very selective. I think it was about 150 people applying for like 8 or 12 spots. And I got in. So I started doing photography in a more professional way. More art way, because it was an art university for art. So that's why I did my bachelor. And then I switched to fine art because they had a studio, and everybody had a studio for their own. So it was more, I think what I liked about that is it was more focused. How do you say focused? It was a better exchange in you see what people are working on. As a photographer, it's a very lonely thing, I think. It's you're on your own, and as an artist, it was a better exchange anyway. So that's where and I also did an exchange with the Art Academy in Düsseldorf with Thomas Ruff, which is a very known photographer, and that was a very inspiring experience. So that's when I would say that's when I got into photography. Yeah. My vision, my photographic vision, yeah, that's a difficult question, but I would say I love, what I love about photography is I see, when I do photography, I see connection and how things work and how things are put together. And especially when you do portraits, you understand life and humans better. And you can look at the images afterwards for a longer time without being a stalker in a weird way. So kind of analyzing things better in after. And I love to touch people. Like I love when they show emotions, when they see my work. That's always the best when you physically do an exhibition and you show your work, and then you see I always like to hide and see the reaction of the people, and I think that's my vision, to touch people in their hearts or wherever they want to be touched. Okay, so this is my favorite picture. It's I would say it's been a while ago when I did this, but it's still very important for me. It's Sean Ross, and I did a campaign for a fashion label, and they gave me all the freedom. They said, just do something cool, and that's what I love the most, doing advertising, when you just can do whatever you want, and you're free, and you get your handwriting in that image. And I think that's why it's very important to me. It's me in that image. It's people knew me in that. I think that time people knew, oh, that is your work, because no one else did something like this in that time. And I think that's why it's so important for me, this image, and it's timeless for me. And I still give it to people or sell it to people or whatever, and it's still an image that people are very, how how do you say, attached to. So I think it's for me, it's a very important, there's a big story about it. And John Ross, I mean, it pushed my career as well, because that's when he started becoming slowly famous. And I had the, I could photograph him. So that was really important. So I think that's about the story for this, yeah. What makes a good photo? What makes a photo good? I would say, yeah, well, what is it? Oh, I have notes, sorry, 1 second. So I think it's the same thing what I said before. I'm a very, very emotional person and impulsive as well. And I love when I see an image and it pushes me pushes me to the next level, and it pushes me emotionally, and it does something inside. I don't have to understand what it does. I just have to give me emotions, strongly emotions, and also something that I think I've never seen this before, or it's something new, especially nowadays, since everything has been done. It's very difficult, but I think it's very interesting when people become more focused on something and create their own microcosmos in even if it's something that's been done, it's still your handwriting, and it's your world, and it's your emotion, and it's your fire and everything. And I think that's showing in an image. And since I'm being I'm working with photography and thinking about photography and art as well for 30 years, I think I have a very strong knowledge, and I know what's good. I mean, it's my opinion. It doesn't mean that someone else likes it, but I have a very strong, how do you say that? Like a very I know in a second if something is good, if it works for me or not. So I think, but that's something that you get through experience and through seeing other exhibitions and art and photography. Yeah, you build your your knowledge out of that. I think that's it. Who are my favorite photographers? So, well, first of all, my English is okay. I mean, I studied in New York, but it's not that great. So sorry if I sometimes lose words or I don't remember words. Okay, my favorite photographers. There is a lot. There's many. So and there's always new coming to it. There's a lot of photographers nowadays, and lots of young I like. But I would say it's the same like in music. Something that's been following you and being around you, and you still like it after many, many years. It has to have something like a connection. So I would say what's very strong is Nan Golden. She's a very, very important person in my life. I mean, as an artist. I even bought a Leica camera because she used to have a Leica, like a little pocket Leica camera. It's not inexpensive. It was not like super expensive. It was expensive, but it was super, super expensive. And she inspired me a lot with her very emotional work. And then Sally Mann, Diane Arbus, Cindy Sherman, and mainly women, which I thought is very important to say, because I've been shaped by a lot of women, and I'm touched more by women work, to be honest, because especially in photography, I think men focus too much on technical stuff, which is interesting too sometimes, but it kind of loses how to say that, it loses the energy somehow. So it's too much technical shit, and I'm not a big fan of that. So I like it when it's more free. But there's other people as well. There's Jeff Wall, which is very important for me. It's more intellectual artist side. Guy Bourdin is a very known. It's a bit older. It's a bit a longer time ago. It's mostly in fashion photography, and it looks like Photoshop, but it's not. And it's a very unique way of seeing fashion. I love it. And then there's August Sander, Wolfgang Tillmans, more the early work of Wolfgang Tillmans. But still, the new one is very solid and very good as well. But I'm a very big fan of his more diary work as well. Then Josef Sudek, Roger Ballan is a very big inspiration, and he was in Zurich once for the photoSCHWEIZ. And I got to meet him, and I got signed a book, which I have of his work. So that was a really, really nice experience to meet him in person. It's a bit crazy, but I love that. I love that. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so this is my my images, my favorite ones. Let me get this together. I'll be with you in a second. Okay, that was the one before. So this is kind of my portfolio and the images that I'm very attached to as well. So this is very commercial, but I'm very proud of it as well because I got asked from IWC, which is a very known watchmaker from Schaffhausen, Switzerland. And I got the opportunity to photograph Lewis Hamilton. Actually, I got to have the opportunity like twice or 3 times to work with him, which is very nice. And it's super commercial, but that's very good too because I got more commercial work, which is interesting. I mean, very helpful too, especially as a freelancer. You need to somehow make a living, and commercial work pays very well. So this helped me to get more into commercial world, since everybody always wants to kind of. They always ask me, "Is like, are you able to do this? Because your work is very crazy, a little bit different, and could you also do commercial?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. It's just different, you know. It's no problem. You know, if you pay me well enough, I don't care." So this is a very important shoot for me in the commercial world. That was the next one is the same, but it was like a different location. I shot him more. This was in a studio. The other one was really at the racing track in Barcelona. And here I shot Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Nico Rosberg, at that time, he was still being a driver. But I think now he's retired. Not too sure what he's doing. But that was a really great opportunity as well to be really in that commercial, really commercial working industry. So the next one was, again, with Sean Ross, a shoot I did for a Handsome magazine. I'm not sure if this magazine still exists, but it was a very beautiful magazine done by a friend. And he asked me to do a story, and then I asked Sean if he's up to it. And he was like, if I get the cover, yes. And then so I got the cover. That's good. Working with Sean Ross is always good. You always get the cover. So we did this beautiful story with New York kids. We cast a lot of very cool kids from New York. And crazy. And that's the beautiful thing about New York. You have a lot of people that want to show who they are, and they are themselves and just go for it. So that's really cool about New York. That's why I always loved living in New York and outside of Switzerland as well, because I think, especially as a photographer, people are more adventurous outside of Switzerland. Even if they're like, let's say if they're fat or tall or skinny or whatever, they don't give a shit in America or in London. They're proud who they are, and they stand in front of a camera and they own it, you know. And in Switzerland, people are a bit too shy and too many. They think too much, so it's always difficult, I think, with Swiss. I mean, it became better, but I think it's a society too as well. So I think we as Swiss people have to change a little bit too. That it's okay to be more diverse. This is a shot again with Sean Ross. I did for Schön magazine. I had an opportunity to work with Ashton Michael. He's a friend of mine. He does custom designs. He's a fashion designer, and he does custom designs for Rihanna, Beyonce, Lady Gaga, and everyone, you know. So he did this collection just for this editorial, for this shoot. We shot in California. I think it was called, yeah, it was Salton Lake. It's a very interesting location. It's very smelly, and there's a lot of dead fish because the water is very salty. So a lot of fish die in that lake. So, but there was this town that kind of like, I don't know what happened. They just it was destroyed, and it looked really, really cool. So I thought that was a very good location to shoot. The next shoot I did for Chris Sabana. He's a very good friend of mine too. He's a very known jewelry designer. He does a lot of custom work for the same, like Lady Gaga, Rihanna, FKA Twigs, I don't know, Madonna, I think as well. So he worked with everyone. So that's always very helpful to push your work as well. So, and with this, I think I entered the Swiss Photo Award. Yes, I did Swiss Photo Award, and I got nominated in advertising, because they've never seen something like this, because it is advertising, but it's a different point of view with very special people. Very extrovert people. And I got nominated. So that was a really cool experience as well, to push in Switzerland a little bit the boundaries as well. So the next work is the same Chris Habana, but this was for Gypsy Sport. Gypsy Sport is a very, they were an upcoming label a few years ago, and they won the Vogue, I don't remember the name, the Vogue Fashion Prize, but it was like worth $500,000 to produce more fashion, you know, like fashion shows and everything. So that was, Kristen Habana made jewelry for Gypsy Sport, and it was like a combination for Gypsy Sport, this shoot. The same here. I love it. I mean, look at the people. They were like super beautiful models we got from New York, and that's very nice to have this diversity, and especially in New York. I mean, now it got even better with you have fat people, you have skinny people, you have people with disabilities, and queer, transform people, that everything. So I'm really, really looking forward that it gets better and better and more diverse. Here we had the same for Chris Habana with a 12-year-old girl. She wants to become an actor, and she's very outgoing. I love to work with her. She was really, really crazy. I love that. Tattoo guy, I love that as well. I'm tattooed myself. Here we have, that was very cool too. She's trans from becoming a woman, changed her gender from woman to, from man to women, sorry. And I love to work with people that, trans people, especially with queer people. And I love when people are themselves and have no boundaries and try to find who they really are. And it's all a journey, you know. It's like one day you feel like a woman, one day you feel like a man. So this is always a very interesting thing for me as well. Here we did a shoot with Timon. I work with him a lot. He's a fashion designer. He's now living in London. He did costume design, his master's with, he got honored with his thesis work, and London College of Fashion. He did his master in costume design. He's amazing. That's him himself. We did this portrait for Art Basel a few, I think it was like 3-4 years ago, for a gallery during Art Basel. It was a group show, and I was invited to produce work. So we did this and showed it at the Art Basel. Here's Sean Ross again. That's the series I did with, the one I showed you, my main image, my favorite image with Sean Ross, with the feathers. There's just a few more. He's very beautiful to work with. He's an amazing dancer, and he can move amazing. So it's really beautiful. It's like you don't even have to give directions. He does everything on its own. So it's really cool to work with people that know what they're doing. Here's ZHdK. It's a fashion label for Berlin. Very outgoing, very crazy, and I've done a lot of collections for him and work with him. We travel a lot. We showed in Tokyo, everywhere, and yeah, he's an important thing in my life as well. Here's Pavaka. Is that label called? It's a glasses. It's sunglasses, and I think it's only sunglasses. I'm not sure. Maybe it's regular glasses to read as well. But this campaign I did for Pavaka. It's based in Berlin, but I think she's living in Bali now. I don't even know if there is a location where it's based now. But it's a very interesting label. She gets a lot of featured in magazines with her glasses. Rihanna wearing it, and yeah, it's a really cool label. Here I did a video. I also do film. I'm focusing more on film as well. And as a music video, I could direct, as I was a director and a creative director. So I organized a lot for this shoot as well. It's for Laskar, a very cool Swiss musician that is pushing it a lot, very well too. And I love his music. And this was a very, very interesting thing. Here I did again with ZHdK. I think I was nominated for Swiss Photo Award as well with this collection, but I think it was fashion, or I think they had fashion as well that time. It was not advertising, it was fashion, I think. And very, very, very cool work. I did it with, he was, I think he was at that same time, it was with Zombie Boy. He would, oh yeah, he was asked by Lady Gaga, but he didn't have a passport. Otherwise he would have been in the video as well with Zombie Boy, with Lady Gaga, because he had a time where he got really, I think Nicola Formichetti, he scouted him as well, and he walked the big fashion shows, because he was a very, I mean, his tattooed face is amazing. So that was a big image too. So it pushed my career as well. Here we see I did something for Milko Bojarov, a very cool fashion designer, pushing everything as well to limits. He's an amazing designer. He works for Swatch as well. But this is his own jewelry he does on Next as a freelance, and I love it. And it's good too because I had all the freedom I wanted, and it's always good to create something unique. Here I got asked by Tom Pfister, a very known creative director, to produce something for with flowers. That was the only rule I had, or thing I had to be. He said, like, it has to be something with flowers. So I thought, okay, let's produce something beautiful with models and flowers, and that's the output. And then we showed in Bern in a gallery, and then also I could show in New York in a gallery. So that was a really, and we also did a book about it, out of it. It was a really, and I think we won some awards as well in advertising. I think it got displayed in Lurz's archive. So it was a really, really good work that pushed my career as well. Here's something lovely I did for a fashion shop, and it's this gender bending, and I love when if it woman, man, I love when you play with the gender, because that's always interested me as well. It's like, what is masculinity, what is femininity? You know, it's like today you feel like a woman, tomorrow you feel like a man, and everything is okay because we all have to cry, and we all cry, and we all sad, and I think we don't. I think it's important not to hide who you are, who you want to become, and I love that when you just be yourself and you try to find yourself, because I think that's what life is about, trying to find who you really are. There's Boychild, very interesting person I could work with together as well. She's from California, but I think actually she now lives in Zurich with her girlfriend. And they became very famous because, especially her girlfriend, she's a big-time artist, video director, producing work for Art Basel, and she's an amazing performer, Boychild, and it was lovely to work with her. Here's again with Timon. I work a lot his fashion. I think it was his thesis work from. He studied in Basel, his bachelor. He did his bachelor. And that's his thesis work, and then now he's in London, and he just finished his master's in costume design at London College of Fashion. Here's I think Nikita Thompson. I don't know if I spelled the name right. I'm really sorry if it's not right. I met her in Zurich at the Café Odeon through my ex-boyfriend, and then she said, like, let's do a photo together, like a photo shoot. And I was like, okay, so we did the photo shoot the same day. And this was the turnout. I mean, she retouched it a little bit more than I expected, but you know, it's totally cool. I wouldn't have gone that far, but I love the image, and it's really beautiful. I love it. Here's another one with Chris Abena. I always, when I go to New York, I work with Chris Abena. I do something, and this was more like a fun shoot, more a silly shoot, but we still had the opportunity to work with a very known makeup fashion designer. And then the one before too, I had with Chris Abena, I worked with Michael Anthony, and he's the makeup artist of Katy Perry, which now I think she's a bit more quiet because she's pregnant. But it's cool to work with people like this, because I think, especially New York is a very good platform to meet that kind of things. Nowadays with the pandemic, it's kind of getting really weird. I hope this is coming back to that we still can meet again in real life. I hope this is going to go away in someday. So this is really cool to network. That's why New York is so great, to network. Here's an older work as well. This is that was very me a few years ago, and it's almost like a drawing, and yeah, it means a lot to me. And it was labels was Sadak. I think it was for Sadak. Yeah, it was Sadak, the fashion label. Well, that was me. Thank you very much. Yes. Oh, my next project. Oh, I already have 25 minutes. Okay, talking a little bit faster. So I have to be a bit top secret about it, but it's I've been working on it for 1 year with Timon, my very good friend, and we work a lot together. We have a same taste, and it's an installation I did for the Natural Historic Museum in Bern, and it should be opening. The opening should be on the 8th of April, but I don't think there's going to be an opening. So the opening of the show is to the public is on the 9th of April, I think. So it's either the 8th or 9th of April. But with the pandemic, it's really hard to say what it's about. But it's a very interesting thing. It's about queerness. It's a very personal project. I love it. Very sensitive, very sensual. It has a really big image. It's like a 6 meter by 6 meter image in the installation. It's massive. It's huge. It looks amazing. I've been there a week ago to photograph it and film it, and I had some tears in my eyes. So it really touched myself. So my own work touches me is always the best if you get that feeling. Yes. So maybe I can tell you more if we do another interview. But yeah, that's it for me. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening, and have a nice day. Bye.